Imagine waking up 10 years from now and realizing nothing really changed. You're older, more tired, still working just as hard, but somehow still in the same place, financially. The bills never stopped, the pressure never left, and the freedom you thought would come one day never showed up. Now imagine something even heavier. The people who come after you stepping into that same reality. Same stress, same limitations, same cycle. Here's the part that should stop you for a second. That future isn't created in 10 years. It's being created right now, in the decisions that feel too small to matter. Because the truth is, most people don't fail to build wealth because they're lazy or unlucky. They fail because they're following a path that was never designed to lead there. A path that looks normal. Work, earn, spend, repeat. But quietly keeps them stuck in the same position year after year. And no one questions it, because it's what everyone else is doing. But what if normal is the trap? What if the reason wealth feels so far away isn't because it's hard to reach, but because most people are walking in the wrong direction without even realizing it? This is where everything changes, because every once in a while, someone pauses long enough to see the pattern. They stop moving on autopilot, they question what they were taught, and in doing that, they make a decision. A different kind of decision. One that doesn't just affect their next paycheck, but their entire future. And that's how generational wealth actually begins. Not with millions, not with luck, but with a moment like this, when you finally see what most people never do. The invisible cycle keeping families broke. From the moment most people are old enough to understand the world, they are quietly handed a script. It's not written down anywhere, but it's repeated so often that it feels like truth. Go to school, get good grades, find a stable job, earn a salary, pay your bills, and try to save what's left. That's the path. That's what success is supposed to look like. And for a while, it feels right, because it's familiar, because everyone around you is following the same steps, and because no one really stops to question where that path actually leads. But here's what's rarely discussed. That default life script was never designed to build wealth. It was designed for survival. It keeps you moving, working, and maintaining, but not necessarily progressing. You earn money, but most of it is already assigned before it even reaches your hands. Rent, food, transport, responsibilities. And whatever remains is often spent as a reward for the effort it took just to keep up. Then the cycle resets. Month after month, year after year. And this is where the real trap lies, because it doesn't feel like a trap. It feels normal. Most people believe that income is the problem. They think, if I just earned more, everything would change. But when you look closely, you start to notice something different. There are people who earn more and still struggle. And there are people who earn less, but slowly build stability. The difference isn't just how much money comes in, it's what consistently happens to that money once it arrives. Habits quietly shape outcomes. The small, repeated decisions, how you spend, what you prioritize, whether you delay gratification or chase it, these are the things that build your financial reality over time. Not once, not twice, but consistently. And the truth is, most of these habits weren't consciously chosen. They were learned. That's how generational patterns work. You don't just inherit eye color or a last name. You inherit ways of thinking. You inherit beliefs about money, risk, success, and what's possible for someone like you. If you grew up seeing money come and go quickly, that becomes normal. If saving was rare, investing was never discussed, or financial stress was constant, Those experiences quietly shape your behavior without you even realizing it. And then come the emotional triggers that keep the cycle alive. Fear tells you to play it safe, to avoid risks, to hold on to what little you have, even if it's not growing. Comfort convinces you that after working hard, you deserve to enjoy everything now, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. And short-term thinking makes today feel more important than the future, leading you to choose immediate relief over long-term progress. None of these feelings are wrong. They're human. But when they drive your decisions unchecked, they keep you locked in the same loop. You work hard, but the results don't reflect the effort. You try to move forward, but something always pulls you back. And after a while, it starts to feel like bad luck, like the system is against you, like maybe this is just how life is supposed to be. But what if it's not? What if the problem isn't your effort, your intelligence, or your potential? What if it's the pattern? Because once you begin to see it clearly, the script, the habits, the inherited thinking, the emotional triggers, you start to realize something powerful. This isn't random. It's not a coincidence that the same outcomes keep repeating. Maybe it's not bad luck. Maybe it's a pattern. The shift that changes everything. Once you become aware of the cycle, something uncomfortable happens. You realize that continuing the same way is now a choice. You can no longer say you didn't know. And that's where the real shift begins, not in your bank account, but in how you think. The first transformation is understanding the difference between earners and builders. Most people are raised to become earners. You study, you get skills, and you use those skills to earn an income. Your focus is on getting paid more, finding better opportunities, and improving your lifestyle. And while that can improve your situation, it doesn't necessarily change your future. Because earning on its own is linear. You put in effort, you get paid, you stop, it stops. Builders think differently. They don't just focus on how much they can earn today, they focus on what they can create that will continue producing tomorrow. They build systems, assets, and opportunities that exist beyond their daily effort. And the moment you start thinking like a builder, your decisions begin to change. You stop asking, "How much can I make this month?" and start asking, "What can I build that will still be here in 5 years?" That question alone shifts everything, because it forces you to think long-term. And this is where most people struggle. The world around you is designed for short-term thinking, quick wins, fast rewards, instant results. You're encouraged to enjoy now, upgrade now, spend now. And while there's nothing wrong with enjoying your life, the problem comes when today becomes more important than tomorrow. Wealth is built in the long term. It grows quietly, often unnoticed, through consistency and patience. But long-term thinking requires something most people avoid: discipline without immediate reward. It means making decisions today that may not feel exciting, but will matter deeply later. And that leads to the next shift: delayed gratification versus instant pleasure. Every day, you're faced with small choices: spend or save, consume or invest, relax or improve. None of these decisions feel life-changing in the moment, but over time, they compound. Choosing instant pleasure feels good now, but often costs you later. Choosing delayed gratification feels uncomfortable now, but builds something meaningful over time. This isn't about denying yourself everything. It's about being intentional. It's about understanding that every yes to the present is often a no to the future, and learning to balance both with awareness. But the deepest shift goes beyond actions. It's about identity. Most people unknowingly live as consumers. They earn money and then exchange it for products, experiences, and comfort. Again, nothing inherently wrong with that. But when consumption becomes your default identity, wealth becomes difficult to build. Because money flows through you, not to you. The shift happens when you start seeing yourself as a creator, as an owner. A creator looks for ways to produce value, not just consume it. An owner looks for ways to have a stake in things, whether it's a business, an idea, or an investment. You stop just participating in the system and start positioning yourself within it. And this doesn't happen overnight. It starts small. A change in perspective. A different question. A more intentional decision. But over time, those small shifts reshape your entire direction. Because at the end of the day, generational wealth isn't just about money. It's about thinking differently from the majority. It's about stepping outside the script you were given and choosing a new one. And everything changes the moment you do. Wealth starts the moment you stop playing the game you were given. The real generational wealth blueprint. Once your mindset begins to shift, the next question becomes clear. What do you actually do differently? Because thinking like a builder is powerful, but without action, nothing changes. And the truth is, building generational wealth is not complicated. It's just rarely explained in a simple, practical way. It's a series of steps, done consistently, over time. It starts with increasing your income. Not just working harder, but becoming more valuable. Income grows when your skills grow. When you learn something that solves bigger problems, creates more impact, or becomes harder to replace, your earning potential changes. This could be learning a high-income skill, improving your expertise, or positioning yourself in better opportunities. The goal is simple: create more room to move. Because without margin, it's hard to build anything. But earning more is only the beginning. Because what you do next matters even more. Step 2 is controlling your spending. Not by restricting your life, but by being intentional with it. Most people don't realize how much of their money disappears into things that don't truly improve their lives. Small, repeated expenses that feel harmless in the moment, but add up over time. This step is about awareness, knowing where your money goes and deciding what actually matters. It's not about cutting everything. It's about aligning your spending with your future, not just your present. Then comes the step that truly separates those who stay stuck from those who move forward: investing consistently. This is where money begins to work for you. Instead of sitting idle or being spent, it's directed into assets, things that can grow, produce income, or increase in value over time. The key here is consistency, not perfection. You don't need to start big. What matters is building the habit of investing regularly, understanding the difference between things that drain your money and things that multiply it. Over time, those small, consistent investments begin to compound into something meaningful. But even that is not the final level. Step 4 is building systems. This is where you move from simply growing money to creating something that generates it. A system could be a business, a side hustle, or any structure that produces income without requiring your constant presence. It's about breaking the direct link between your time and your earnings. Because true wealth is not just having money. It's having income that continues even when you're not actively working for it. And finally, the step most people never reach, but the one that defines generational wealth: protecting and passing it on. This is where your thinking extends beyond you. It's no longer just about your lifestyle, but about what remains after you. It's about building something that can support, guide, and uplift the next generation. Teaching financial awareness, creating structures, and making decisions that ensure what you build doesn't disappear. Because without this step, wealth is temporary. It comes and goes within one generation. But when you combine all these steps, increasing your income, controlling your spending, investing consistently, building systems, and thinking beyond yourself, you begin to create something different, something stable, something that lasts. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's built slowly, quietly, through consistent action. But over time, those actions stop looking small. They start looking like a legacy. Becoming the one who changes everything. There's a part of this journey that no one really prepares you for. It's not the strategies, or the habits, or even the patience it takes to build something meaningful. It's the weight of being the one who decides that everything changes from here. Because being the first is not easy. You're the one who starts thinking differently, while everyone around you stays the same. You're the one making decisions that don't always make sense to others. You're the one choosing discipline when comfort would be easier, choosing long-term growth when short-term pleasure is right in front of you. And sometimes it feels isolating. Sometimes it feels like you're sacrificing more than you're gaining. But what you're really doing is shifting the direction of something much bigger than yourself. You're not just building money. You're building options. The kind of options where your future children don't have to start from zero. Where they have access to better opportunities, better education, and a different way of thinking about life. You're creating a reality where survival is no longer the focus. Where they can think bigger, move differently, and build even further. And yes, it takes sacrifice. It takes saying no when it would be easier to say yes. It takes discipline when no one is watching. It takes believing in a future you can't yet see. But those sacrifices are not losses. They are seeds. And over time they grow into something that outlives you. Because breaking the cycle isn't about one big moment. It's about consistent decisions that slowly rewrite what's normal. Until one day, what used to feel impossible becomes the new standard. And when that happens, it's no longer just your life that has changed. It's the legacy you leave behind. Because someone, somewhere in your future, will live a life they didn't have to struggle for. All because you chose not to pass the struggle on. The truth is simple. Wealth isn't just money. It's the freedom to live life on your terms and the power to change the path for those who come after you. Every choice you make today, no matter how small, shapes the future you leave behind. You have the opportunity and the responsibility to break the cycle, think differently, and build a legacy that lasts. It starts with one decision, one shift in mindset, one intentional action. Will you be the one who changes everything, or will you let the cycle continue?